longing for that place where I belong. The opposite of belonging is to feel isolated and always on the margin and outsider. To belong is to know, even in the middle of the night, I am among friends.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Take a second, just reflect on that. Think about that. What resonates with you? Allow whatever thoughts are bubbling up to bubble out for you. If you haven't done so already, introduce yourself to your table mates. Take 1 minute, go ahead and just share those reflections, those thoughts, whatever is bubbling up to you. Go ahead and turn it on. You guys will notice there's a very big mix of folks, and hopefully we're meeting some new faces. Turn it on. Go.
I'm Alex, first year teacher. Chris, like my second full year, and teaching
Say 15 more seconds.
I really did a good job at allowing
Wrap up where you're at. Let's go ahead, let's go on back together here in 3. Let's go ahead, let's go on back together here in 2. And let's go ahead, let's go on back together here in 1. So there's a second part of this quote here that I want us to really anchor in as we talk about belonging here. Grant, can I have you go ahead and read this second part of the quote?
The second meaning of belong has to do with being an owner. Something belongs to me. To belong to a community is to act as a creator and co-owner of that community. What I consider mine, I will build and nurture. The work, then, is to seek in our communities a wider and deeper sense of emotional ownership. It means fostering among all of the community's citizens a sense of ownership and accountability. 1 Peter Block.
Take a second, just let it resonate. Let whatever thoughts come up, come up. Turn and talk to your folks. What ideas are coming up? Go.
just your feet. Yeah.
I know. That's why I pulled it out. I like it.
Also, when you work to build that community, other people just feel like they want to go it's easier for them.
Take 15 more seconds. It's relatable. activity as we come on through. There's going to be some water involved. But that's okay. Just let those thoughts resonate with the group as we continue to move on. So one of the things that we want to do too is we got a lot of new faces. We got a lot of big wins here. You're going to see this. This is, I don't know what happened on that slide deck. There's supposed to be a timer. But one of the things that we want to do is we want to be intentional about, especially for this first week and a half, connecting with folks that don't usually get to connect. You'll notice that there's some folks that are new at your table. You'll notice that there's some returning folks. You'll notice that there's some folks that have been teaching for 20, 30 years. Then you notice that there's maybe some folks that have been teaching for their first year or second year. So with that being said, we want to mix these groups, and also at the same time, we want to build some community. Oh, that's that video that's actually popping out here. So we are going to find 5 value partners. These are going to be some of your partners that you're going to be connecting with today and tomorrow. What's going to happen is I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes, and you are going to go ahead and you're going to walk around and say, hey, do you need a partner for growth? Do you need a partner for grit, kindness, integrity, and sync? You're going to partner up, and then when I say, hey, go find your integrity partner to turn and talk, connect with, that is who you're going to go to. So you have 2 minutes. There's a couple rules specifically for some of our returners. Only one of your partners can be your quote-unquote bestie. Connect with new people. 1 or less grade level partners. Again, we want to make sure that we're spreading the wealth. Connect with some new people. 1 or less content partners. And again, really at the heart of this, the big goal that I want you guys to be doing is connecting with folks who are new to you, new to our site, new to whatever. All right, you got 2 minutes. Alex, we start the dancing chicken. Find your value partners. Go.
Sure, why not?
It's fun. I need some man. Cheers, man. Where? Cheers, man. There we go. Lucky he's man.
You got grit. You got grit.
Is Donnelly? Do you have a partner for the third one? For kindness?
One more.
I need growth and integrity.
I need someone for kindness.
I'll let you do it.
Kindness. Anyone missing kindness?
Hey guys, coming back together here in 3. Pause where you're at here in 2. And just gonna track here for a second in 1. Hey, can you guys give me like a fist to 5? How many more partners do you guys need to find? Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds here. Go find that last partner. Find that last partner. If you do not have a partner, you're reaching out here. I'll realize we're gonna put folks here.
I don't know what you need. I need integrity.
I need integrity.
Cool. You're my integrity.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Yeah, I want it.
I think it does. So when you meet, you're talking about better.
Once you go down your partners, go ahead and take another partner.
No, like
Messing
after
things up. I need a grip.
accepted this, I'm like,
A grip.
you kind of busted.
I don't know. Yeah. Do you guys need a grip partner?
I think I did this whole thing wrong
If you are missing a
because I didn't
partner,
match up. Like, so like I might be there.
You said if you're missing a
let's go. Okay, so one of the things, and our new folks, you guys got your guys' books yesterday, Onward. Our returning folks, we're going to be spiraling this book. You're going to see some threads that are being pulled through Monday PD, our meetings and sessions, our trainings, our themes for the year. We are spiraling onward. And again, for those folks who are returning, like again, I encourage you to reread that book. Every time I reread it, pull out something new. For our new folks, again, you're going to see like this arc of the year. Elena and I do like this a wonderful job of just nailing the feelings that we'll feel, the thoughts, the mindsets, the struggles, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, backwards, forwards, I don't know however we want to do it here, to help us really cultivate what it means to live here. So the thought that I want you guys to kind of keep in the back of your mind here, as we talk about resilience, our 5 core values: growth, grit, integrity, kindness, same. Where does this come from? Just keep that in the back of your mind. But you guys are going to notice some themes that we are going to be pulling from here. Starting with this first one of know thyself. How's we doing? Sorry, last slide here. Resilience. Go back to resilience. So, resilience. This is something that Elena talks about here. Veronica, can I have you go ahead and read out that first bullet point? Resilience is
a way of being that allows us to bounce back quickly from adversity and stronger than before.
popcorn to your grit partner.
Great partner.
Grit.
Oh, grit partner. Natalie.
Read the second bullet point.
What was it?
Read the second bullet point.
Oh. An adaptive, dynamic process.
Popcorn to your integrity partner.
It's Monica Reyes.
Cultivated through engaging in specific habits and fostering specific dispositions.
And popcorn to your same partner.
Brent.
What enables us to thrive and to survive?
Take 1 minute, quickly turn and talk to your tables here. Again, where have you guys seen or need that resilience? Either from this last year teaching, or what was it if you're new and this is your first year, where's resilience showed up in your life? Take 1 minute, turn and talk to your table, go. Take 15 more seconds. Coming back together here, 3. Going back together here, 2. Let's go back together here, 1. So, again, this verse, and you'll notice too, even with our student arc of the year, this first theme is know thyself. The big aha is, we have to do me work before we can do me work. And so part of that is having the self-awareness to really cultivate and understand what is our strengths? How do we show up? What are our biases? How does that impact our resilience? So Elena, she says, when you know yourself well, when you understand your emotions, social identities, core values, and personality, you gain clarity on your purpose in life and in work. Being anchored in purpose makes you able to deal with setbacks and challenges. Again, before we do the we work, we do the me work first. So here's what I want you guys to do to connect with your strengths. We're going to be pulling those strengths through this week in our community circles. But you're going to find your sync partner. You guys can talk and write. There's a few questions that I want you guys to be answering. It is on page 2 of your packet. How easily were you able to answer the questions when you took your StrengthsFinder assessment? Did you hesitate to answer any of them? If so, what might that hesitation reveal about you? What was your initial reaction to the first 2 or 3 strengths listed in your results? What feelings came up for you? Does this list ring true? Does anything feel off? Try to recall a situation in which one or more of your top 5 strengths shine. What happened? What was the result? Scrolling to the bottom of your report, read the strengths least evident in your profile. What reaction do you have to the reading this list? Look across all 24 strengths. Are there any that you wish to cultivate? Big aha too. What difference would it make in your life if you increase some of the strengths that weren't at the top? If you guys need to get your guys' computers or your phones out for this little activity, feel free to do so. I'm going to set the timer for 8 minutes. Go connect with your sync partner. Talk, reflect, discuss strengths. Go forth. Oh, excuse me.
Set timer for 8 minutes.
Do you think I should pause this one?
You can, yeah. However you want to.
I think Cordero, whether she wants to admit it or not, is very adaptable, and so we always, especially year 1, we didn't have guests the day before. We had a lot of stuff that was pretty crazy, and then Tanner was our coach, and Tanner's biggest strength is being adaptable, which means if you're following Tanner, you've got to learn. And so just Cordero, whether it's the 5th grader saying random stuff in her classroom or whatever, is always down to she gets stuff done no matter what is coming her way. And so her resilience, her adaptability, and even her planning to the point where when stuff does go crazy, she's able to bring it right back. So she's pretty amazing.
And so that's the thing that I want us to be thinking about. We all come in with unique strengths. We all come in with ways to support kids. It's not just what we do, it's going to be how we do it. You're going to hear that theme come over and over again. I'm going to let you guys just kind of sit on number 24. We're going to have an opportunity to all share out too in a quick circle as we keep pushing forward. So that was our first part of our community circle. I want to talk a little bit about my story itself. There's, again, one quick little slide where James is much bigger now. I think the slide from last time here. That was my 2-year-old. I'm a dad, and I think one of the things that you will see and you'll hear from me is the way that I show up as an educator has been shaped by him and now by a baby girl that's on the way. And it's amazing too, because again, that's just the greatest gift for, I know we have a lot of parents in this room here, and just again, you wake up one day, or maybe you just stay awake the entire night, but you just go ahead and you resonate and you think, wow, this is just not there. So a little bit about me and then a little bit about my strengths here. I'm originally from California. I'm from a small beach town called Bisno Beach, California. I thought it was normal for kids to go surfing before they went to school, and then I moved out to Oklahoma. So it was like that culture shock, but I was called because I went to the University of Redlands, it was in Southern California. I was a TFA core member. I came here and I started off on the northeast side at Douglas High School, and I say high school, I hesitate, we're middle school and high school. And I actually got to work with one of my former principals, who is now here teaching, Tammy Taylor. She can tell you all of the times where I was a struggling first year teacher. She was so nurturing, so mentoring. I was a little frustrated when they're like, hey, you need to go to Centennial and help fix that school because it's a mess. And I was like, oh, damn it. But okay. She can also tell you about all the struggles that I've had. The things too that when we talk about, like when you talk about like a system being able to support and create flourishing conditions. You know, again, it is one of those things where you're gonna hear, we can only carry so much water. Again, now it's amazing to see over the last decade how things have grown, and like the vision of Teach for America was brought me here, seeing that in action here at West, seeing that in action throughout the greater community. Got my master's degree from UCL, but again, one of the big reasons which drove me to education, there's a lot of reasons here, but I think about my senior year, I have one of my teachers, and I think this is probably why a lot of us are here. We had someone that poured into us, and now we want to be able to pour that into other folks. So Mr. Halit, he was my AP physics teacher. He was a little crazy. He was really hard. And he was one of those ones where after I left his class, I was like, dang, that guy was a jerk. And then in college, when I was like, oh, I'm cruising through classes and seeing all of the things that he taught with explicitly in that hidden curriculum, I realized, oh wait, this guy's not helping their success. When he passed away his senior year from leukemia, that's when I was also like coincided with TFA recruiter, and it just felt like a calling. So that's what brought me here. One of my anchor quotes that you'll hear, I'm a huge John Woods fan, you'll see me keep popping up quotes. That is one of my cheesy things, but it's just something too that resonated with me my first year of teaching, and now as an educator I understand. As John Wooden once said, success is the peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction of becoming the best you're capable of becoming. So you'll see us talk about growing. And that's something too, where again, I'm not expecting perfection, but I am expecting here is that we just continuously try to work to find a way for it to get better. Because again, that's going to be the thing too, that's going to trickle down to our kids. And we're already seeing that success from last year. We're going to carry it into this year. Just so you know, too, when we talk about strengths, here are my 5 strengths. Humor's at the top. It's funny because, like, I'm not funny. So, yeah. So let's say about my leadership. I don't know, but yeah. So you'll see too. There's again, and this is something too where I do hope you'll. For those who are new, you got Lucas who again whose strength is also humor. We do a little bit of roasting. One of the things that I really want to make sure that we're doing, especially too, like setting the foundation. It's we're having fun this week. We're having fun when kids return. We're having fun in October when all of a sudden it becomes dark. We're having fun in February when all of a sudden they're just not together. We're having fun when it's state testing. We're having fun when we get to celebrate in May for some of the biggest celebrations we'll have all year. All right. With that being said, let's jump into our state of the school, our academic vision, and our arc of the year. So again, you're going to hear a theme. You guys have read every person that I've interviewed here. You guys have read that West vision, a collective vision and mission that was developed, by our community, by all the key stakeholders. And one of the things too is not just what we do, it's how we do it, and it's why, and it's for whom. And so all these things are pieces to a puzzle that lead into our greater vision and mission. With that being said, can I go ahead, Grant, you were requested to be our reader because I guess you can now narrate an audio book too. So I need you to go ahead and I need you to read out our vision, and I want you to really pull out the food that resonates with you.
Santa Fe Southwest Middle School will close the opportunity gap for students in the OKC metro area by providing a rich grade-level curriculum that prepares students to thrive in high school and beyond. West Middle School will demonstrate its love for kids and the content we teach by ensuring a rigorous grade-level curriculum is taught bell to bell every day within every classroom. We will help foster grit and resilience while celebrating the success that we find in student growth to help kids reach their full potential. Everything we do will reflect a love for learning and growth that centers around the holistic needs of our students as we fiercely advocate for the needs of our students and community.
Yeah, that's okay. That's great. I love it.
I do take commission.
I'll actually go ahead and slide. One biggest things that I want to make sure too is that, again, these are not just words that live on a page, but that these are words that live out in action. So there's 2 reflection questions, and we're going to turn and talk with our table group. And I'm going to I will go ahead and I'll spiral it back because the questions are on your packet here. You also have the vision on your packet too. What is the part of the vision that you connected with? What is one of the mundane ways that this vision lives out? So when I'm talking about it in October, or in February, or in April, how does this vision live out? And then be prepared, because part of it is we're going to circle up, and you're going to share your 1 second, or 1 sentence reflections. So that way we can also know who everyone is. Oh, let's go ahead, let's get back to it. Wait, not on the table groups?
Nope, we were with our same.
Sorry, that's good live coaching. Let's get back to our table groups, then go turn and talk.
I did it. I did it. I live coached.
Oh man.
You heard?
There you go. You will notice I will be coached by the coaches.
I got you. I got you.
That's our challenge. I'm not excited for us to do my class or that they would really see to say I'm not excited how they do. I can help one kid one way, so mentally reassuring that doesn't figure out
Take 30 more seconds, y'all. Go ahead and wrap up where you're at. Let's go ahead. Let's come on back together here. 3. Let's go ahead. Let's come on back together here. 2. And let's go. Let's come on back together here. 1. Okay. So when I say go, what we're gonna do is so that way we can kind of get that first wave of knowing everyone's name. And again, I don't expect us to know every single person's name because again, we got 45 faces here. But again, that first time of being able to see everyone's face. When I say go, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna come over here. Be careful of the cones. We're gonna circle up. The cones are gonna be for later on activity. And you are going to go ahead and you are going to share one of your reflections, either the first or second question, after you go ahead and say your name, what you teach, and then your 1 sentence reflection. All right, let's circle up. Let's come on over here.
Well, I'm on a little. I got here late. I had a doctor's appointment. So I'm just lost.
Well, it's okay,
Watch the codes!
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead. I will start. Yep. Come on, ladies, come on in. Make some space. So I will start off. Again, I am Tanner Sandman. I am Shepard's assistant. He is at home with James today, so that is where, again, he knows his priority. With that being said, he's at home with James.
Not everyone knows.
Shepard is our school therapy dog. He is the real principal, but I signed the paperwork because he has paws and I have thumbs. So, with that being said, the part that really resonated with me connecting with this vision is the idea of grade level curriculum taught bell to bell within every classroom, because it's not just what we do, but every moment it's how we do it, and all the things that are taught explicitly and implicitly shape the lives of our students. I'm gonna pass it off to Karen. We'll go around the circle.
I'm Karen, and I'm gonna repeat, because mine was rigorous curriculum, bell to bell, and the way this is lived out every day is by having well thought out lessons, planning, and making sure you fill that time fully. So this is kind of a copy, and it's not on purpose.
I'm Emily, I'm the art teacher. Love for kids and the content we teach is what really sticks out to me. As a specials teacher, my love for art is what the motor of the whole thing, so love them as well.
I'm Blaze, I teach PE. Something that stood out to me was the word beyond. I think it's very important not only for teaching the subject that you have in your class, but also giving them tools and things that they can take going forward, not just in high school, but as they go on to their job and careers.
I'm Kim. I love for kids and the content that we teach because for some students, electives are their why.
I'm Lydia, teaching grade reading. One thing that stood out to me was that we will do everything we do will reflect a love of learning and growth. That's something I'm holistic needs of our students. I like that you included that because you can teach bell to bell as rigorous as you want, but if we're not meeting students where they're at, like needs-wise, they're not going to worry about what's going on in the classroom.
I'm Tammy, and I'm going to teach 6th grade reading, and the thing that I connected with was fiercely advocate for the needs of our students and community. I'm a relationships gal. That's just kind of my strength. It's something that I really, really focus on, and I connect to that statement because I am a Southside girl. I grew up on Southwest 26th, and a lot of times people have a tendency to write off Southside kids. So the fact that that's included in our vision is very, very important to me, and it just has a very deep meaning for me personally.
I'm Isabel Woodard, I teach 8th grade reading, and I connect with our goal to celebrate the success of student growth. So just like after any assessment or math text, I love pulling the
be the reading instructional coach this year. I also had Fiercely Advocate as something that stands out to me, because this year I get the really cool opportunity to be an advocate for students and also to be an advocate for teachers.
I'm Jessica, I teach 7th grade reading. There are a couple of things: the demonstrated love for kids, reflective love for learning, the Fiercely Advocate, because I'm very, very passionate about learning and kids and like West in general. Like, I want West to dominate everything and be the best, and I will literally probably die for this school, so.
Maybe probably is a bad word.
I
would. Vocabulary is important.
My name is Sage Hermes. I teach 7th grade reading, and I would say my quote is, everything we do will reflect the love for learning and growth. I think that education is the greatest equalizer, so I hope that they should realize learning is where your confidence comes from. So, yeah.
I'm Shelly Krotz. I'm teaching computer science, and what stood out to me was the holistic needs of the students and the community, and that's advocating for all of the things and all the parts of a student that may inhibit or aid in their learning before they get to school.
Hi, my name is Alondra. I teach 7th grade science, and for me, it's the foster grit and resilience while celebrating success. What makes me really, really happy is just seeing all my kiddos come into science class and first look a little bit confused, because let's say we're learning about chemical reactions, and at the end, I have Noe, if you know who Noe is, he's answering the questions really happy because he understood the lesson. That just makes me really, really happy, and I love to see that when it translates to all of my students at the end of the day.
I'm Dylan, I teach 8th grade science, and I have the exact same thing because I want my students to know that my class is hard, but hard work pays off.
I'm Kathy Constantino. I work in special education. Every day I celebrate success when it comes to Dante. Because most of you guys know, I have been with him since 2nd grade and was told he was never really going to accomplish much. As you guys see, day to day, he does almost everything on his own. And that was something in 2nd grade he wasn't able to do, and here we are going to 7th grade.
I'm Monica Reyes. I'm one of the ELL parents. Well, I am the ELL parent. I put everything we do will reflect the love for learning and growth. And I feel like just showing up for the children every single day, especially being a mother of 6 children that come to Santa Fe, showing up for the kids every single day impacts them 100%. So be here 100.
I'm Joanna Nunez. I'm one of the SPED paras. What stood out to me was how kids reach their full potential. I feel like a lot of our kids need a little push to know that they can do it, because a lot of them do doubt themselves.
I'm Veronica Colon, 8th grade math. The phrase that stood out to me was foster grit. It's important for me not to just teach 8th grade math, but to build that in students. And how that translates day to day, it's important for me to lead by example and showing that like strong little habits and consistency is key to fostering that grit.
All right, my name is Grant McGee. I'll be teaching creative writing and global studies. For me, it really had to do with the very last sentence, that everything we do will reflect the love of learning and growth, and so on and so forth. For me, the way that I've always built that is primarily by building a good rapport, both with my colleagues and of course with the students. I taught at an international IB school in Taiwan previously, before I came here, and even though most of my students were Taiwanese, vast majority of them many of them also came from other countries, and so starting the day by even just saying hello in their native language, even if they were not the student who constantly participated in class, seeing that smile bright on their faces where they know that they were welcome and they were safe. I saw a vast improvement in behavior and of course in grades because of that. So.
I'm Becky. I'm one of the reading specialists, and my line was the rigorous grade level curriculum. While I don't get to teach anywhere close to grade level, I'm often starting with letter names and sounds with a few of these love bugs, but I still make it rigorous, and I push them and push them and push them until we get those levels up.
I'm Lucas Lunsford, and the line that stood out to me was that fiercely advocate for our students. And how that happens day to day is usually who I'm advocating for them against is themselves. And I feel like whatever voices are in their heads telling them they can't, or they shouldn't, or it's better to do something different, are the voices we have to fight every day. And so just to advocate for them.
Hi, I'm Maria Risley. I teach 7th grade writing. What stood out to me was holistic needs of our students, because I am trying to build and help create critical thinkers, and also at the same time, like Lucas said, middle schools is really overwhelming place. And so if I'm the person you need to be mad at or yell at, I'm a safe person to do that, and then we'll talk about it.
I'm Catherine Hedgeland. I'm the math instructional coach, and what stood out to me was the part about rigorous grade level curriculum. I believe that our kids have a right to a quality education, and I think that that's a huge, that's a core part of bringing that to them.
No, I'm Sebastian, and I connected mostly the idea of making every student grow and reach their potential. I also like that the vision focus on love, read, and supporting kids every day. I think this shows up small things every day, like teaching basketball, encouraging the students, and helping them to go in little by little.
I'm Shelton, also go by Ray. I teach in creative science, and the one that stood out to me was self-foster grit, resilience, also great success, because there are students that come in not believing themselves a lot of times because, let's be honest, Oklahoma is not great at helping students believe themselves. And so seeing them from going from very timid to answer questions, or timid not taking tests, to scoring above grade level and things like that, or even just rising from first to 50th percentile. Those are just not most of the students, and I want to celebrate them.
My name is Logan Gill. I'm a 6th grade humanities teacher. The part that connected me was rigorous grade level curriculum. It's taught every day bell to bell. Only through rigorous teaching and structure will you actually be able to have a kid learn. Also, idle hands are the best playthings. So the more they are working and the more they are learning, the less you have to do other things.
My name is Keisha. I'm the English language development teacher, and what stood out to me was fostering grit and resilience, because sometimes our kids, they want to do everything perfectly, and they just get stuck if they don't do anything at all. And I want to let them know, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's better, it's not perfect, and just jump in and do it.
Hi, I'm Lena Walker. I'm the Math Foundation's teacher. What stood out to me today was that we have to find the students' growth to help kids reach their full potential. Most of my students come in, I'm dumb. I always make F's. Look at my sheet. I have my grades. I have straight F's. This is just who I am. I can't do the work. I'm not going to do the work. So we got rid of the word smart, dumb. We all have a growth mindset, because if we actually water it and do something with it, then we can become something. But then by the end of the year, even Mario had green on his grades, and he's able to get student council, which was like a far reach goal at the beginning. That's me.
I'm Jess Winterjoy. I'm teaching 5th grade writing, and what stood out to me was meeting the needs of our students. And sometimes those needs are just a safe adult that's gonna give them a smile. They know they're safe in your classroom, and that's what I needed as a child, and I want to give that to other children.
I'm Anna Hermes. I'm teaching 5th grade reading this year. Something that stood out to me was as we fiercely advocate for the needs of our students and community, especially the political climate right now. I think it's our duty as teachers to be there for our students during this difficult time and provide them that education and so that they can grow.
I'm Jeanette Maxwell. I'm the other counselor. I'll be here 3 days a week and then at Pathways 2 days a week. I was focusing on the grit and resilience. Statistics show us that someone with grit is more successful than someone without it. And if we can teach our children to persevere beyond difficulty, then they're going to be more successful as well. And not just that, I think we as teachers must have grit and resilience as well. The Onward book is showing us that. Because we need to have that grit to stay in the game and teach the kid that's difficult to teach, or help the kid who's had that trauma, for them to persevere through it and know that they can be strong beyond it and they can heal. So you'll come to see that I am a huge cheerleader for grit and resilience.
My name is Veronica, and I teach 5th grade math. Part of the organization that resonates with me says that Santa Southwest specifically will close the opportunity gap for students in the OKC metro area by providing them with great grade level curriculum. I think everybody deserves quality education regardless of their zip code, race, nationality, language that they speak. And I'd like to be that person that opens or actually closes that gap. And what along the lines of what you said, kids come to us thinking that they're not good enough. And I'd like to be that person that contradicts them. You are.
We went around this whole circle and you said close the opportunity gap, which is the quote I most read. I was like, dang. But yeah, anyway, my name's Gabriel Mendez. You guys can call me Gabe or Mr. Mendez, and I teach 7th grade math. But the quote I resonated with was close the opportunity gap, and the sentiment is the same. I like to root for an underdog, and to me, I set my ambitions high. I see the top goal getters in the world, and I think what makes us so different from where those people are. And I know that there's a whole lot of opportunities that they get, but I know that that's not the only thing that separates them from our students, and I seriously believe that we can get our students to get there, to rise to the top if given the opportunity.
Hello, my name is Andrew Tennyson, 8th grade math. I put 2 things down: resilience and the needs for our students. The resilience is just us waking up after a hard day and getting back into the fight and going back at it because they deserve us at our best. Needs for our students, a lot of times, or at least where I kind of grew up and taught around, we are the best role models for our kids. So being there and being that person that they want to look up to is important to me.
I'm Chris Claiborne. I teach 6th grade reading. I chose Top Delta Bell because the year's not that long, the day's not that long, you're gonna run out of time.
Hi, I am Levin Shepard. I'll be teaching 6th grade math. The sentence that I kind of connected with was that says everything we do will reflect the love for learning. Somebody who had like a hard time in school because, I don't know that there was much effort into making learning fun to build that love for learning. That is what I plan on doing coming in here, is making it easy for the kids to fall in love with learning.
I'm Alex Rodriguez. I'm also teaching 6th grade math. The quote that got me was reflect the love for learning and growth. I'm a first-year teacher, and I want to be excited about coming in, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's October or May. I just want to be excited. This is my year of growth. I know I'm not going to be the best teacher. If I am, something's really wrong with me. And this year, this works really well, both as I learn and grow, and as the students learn.
Okay, I'm Daniel Serrano. I teach 8th grade humanities. And, well, I chose to love learning and holistic needs. And the reason why I resonated with those two is because when we are working, as I already mentioned, we're not only working with students, we're working with humans, with people. And humans come with all sorts of baggage with them when they enter the classroom. You never really know what their home life is like, and you never really know if they're like being praised or loved or respected at home. You may be the one who teaches them about that, you know? And that goes with the love of learning. That goes with not only learning about a lesson, but learning about life. And I think that's an opportunity.
I'm Jasmine Herman. I'll be teaching special education, and the very first quote talking about closing the gap, and then the very last quote talking about advocating for not only the students but their community as well. I think that those two can kind of go hand in hand with each other, because not only do you have to advocate for the students, but you have to teach them how to advocate for themselves. They cannot, when you are gone, they cannot just expect someone to come in and fill your spot. You need to teach them why you do what you do, how you do what you do, and how they can take that into their personal lives to advocate for themselves and their communities when you can no longer do that.
Y'all are inspiring. And I think there was one thing that I would say that like was my leadership superpower is being able to assemble a team. And again, I thank you guys for sharing out. We're gonna finish this page and then we'll take a break. This page on the handout, so there's a couple more slides. And one of the things I want to encourage you is when we have that break, we share our stories, connect with someone whose quote resonated with you. Yeah. Let's get back to our seats here, and then we'll take a break soon.
Mom and dad never taught me. So do you want to learn Spanish?
I do. He's doing a great job.
Mr. Serrano, are you going to give Spanish lessons?
Huh?
Are you giving Spanish lessons?
Well, not formally, really.
I was going to say, sign me up.
You know, my visa doesn't allow me to get another job.
So, one of the things we'll talk more about our cultural playbook tomorrow, but our values living out, connect to our movement. We grow through grit, we expect integrity, we show kindness together. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Our expectations, again, tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about this, how they actually live out. So the idea is like when we show up and we do these core things here, especially within this space, and especially when we represent West and other spaces like your camp on Thursday, when we are the gold standard, when we are the sort of the lighthouse on a hill that others can mirror, we know that all kids are going to benefit within this OKC network. And so that's above the line thinking, the through the possible mindset, it's the recording of progress communication, and being an all-pro, all-star. So there's two key navigation tools that we're going to be using. We talked last year, you guys probably knew this for our returning folks. We had 2 North Stars. I did reflect on that, I was like, hey, that's kind of a little funky to have 2 North Stars. Probably need to mix up the language just a little bit, so that way we're not getting too confused with it. But our first one, our North Star, is this 50% and 80%. So 50% tiered growth goals. What that means here, we'll talk more about math for those who are just like kind of entering us here. The idea is that students are going to grow anywhere from 2.0 years to 1.2 years in 1 year time based upon their spring math scores. So we're going to be measuring from last spring to this spring. So to see like what happens even when over summer if there's some learning loss. That's our big goal. 80%. So 80% of students need typical growth. The amount of growth students make is greater than 1.0 years in 1 year's time. So the big aha there is that we are continuing to grow kids. With that being said, if we hit these 2 metrics, that is how we close the opportunity gap. That is how we go ahead and make some of these other parts of the vision come true. So the way that it works, again, you guys can see tiered growth goals. The goal is based on where the student is entering and the trajectory that they need to be on to achieve at or above grade level in the next 3-ish years. So you can see, the lower the student is coming into us, the more we want them to grow. Here's the chart for what we see with typical growth. So again, this is an average, and again, it's a nationally normed average So what we can see too is that we're not just comparing how our kids doing in Oklahoma, we're comparing kids across the United States. Because again, we live in a global society. It's not just, hey, how are you doing in Oklahoma? We want you to be able to go anywhere and be able to be successful. So again, that's just the metrics. We just take those numbers and multiply them by whatever that coefficient is that they need to continue to accelerate their growth. Our South Cross, so this is the rebranding here. This idea of one step up. It is replacing the red to reading. We'll talk more about why I'm branding it this way here. So our second navigation tool is to progress monitor these things. The idea is that we're having all students, no matter what the assessment is, whatever the metric is that we're measuring, we're taking one step up. And this doesn't just have to live in like your math testing. Again, these are the easy things that we have data to go ahead and track, especially from like my view. It's easier for me to track. Okay, hey, are 50% of students moving up one performance band on OSTP? So are they going from below basic to basic, basic to proficient, proficient to advanced? 50% of students move up one quintile in MWA math. If they hit their tier growth goal, there's a good chance they move up a quintile. 50% of students are above or well above average growth on DIBELS. Becky, I am pushing you. You were like, you hit it last year, and now again, that's a stretch goal for even like our district here. So again, our district says 40%. We're just, we got a chance here. We got a chance all around us here. We got everyone that's rowing the boat in the right direction. So we can stretch it. That's fine. The heart of it, though, is that everyone moves one step up, whatever the thing is. I don't know, again, how what that looks like in music, but I know she knows what it looks like. So our specials, again, it's that same idea of one step up, right? Or one step up in science, or humanities, with our writing. Again, these are some of the metrics that like are easy for me to measure and see. That does not mean that it does not get to the heart of it, is that we're telling our kids, we want you to move one step up. Let's turn the slide. So how we take one step up is, again, this idea that everyone has a focus group and a focused set of students. Now again, if you zoom in and you focus on your core students here, and we know that everyone has a focus, then every student will be a focused student for someone. So the way that lives out is, again, we have basically 3 tiers of instruction here. So your tier 1 instruction is your grade level instruction, just your standard day-to-day, what everyone gets here. For that, these are our students that are in, when we look at math, is our blue and green. Again, we want to be able to have that culture of love for learning and literacy. It's everyone in every class. Literacy for all. When we get into tier 2, that's where we have systemic like focus groups, intervention times, daily reteaches embedded in our classes. Those are where we're looking at our students that are in the yellow and orange bands on math. For our OSTP, when we get to semester 2, it's our bubble focus group. This is where your personalized learning time is so critical for our kids, is having this targeted reteaches. And then our students in the red here, those are students that are in the orange and red quintiles. This is our foundations, our interventionist teachers. These are where those classes really get to own those kids and really accelerate their growth. And the big aha here is like, if you own this set of students, every student will be a focused student for someone. And so we're shifting from that red to reading, where we really honed in on our red quintiles. We're going to have some huge celebrations that you guys will see in a second with that. To every student now. Because now we have the capacity to own each band. Again, the aim is, I own my students, I know my teammates are helping own every student. Let's turn the slide. Okay, this is going to be our pause point and our break. Take a second here. We're going to take 15 minutes. We'll be back at 9:40 before we shift into this next part. Again, if you guys want to take some time to reflect on our North Star and Southern Cross, please do so, and we'll get rolling at 9:40. Okay. Silent slow for a second. What do you see and notice from this image?
The image on the screen?
The image on the screen.
Thank you.
Do you want us to tell you?
Nope, just silent reflection. Silent reflection here on this page here. We'll turn and talk with our table groups in a second.
Seems like your instructions need to be more.
I know that. I need to tighten them up here. I need, yeah. Attention getter. once you have done your seen and notices, out of that second question, silent solo, what does this make you think and wonder? All right, after you guys are done that, turn and talk to your table group. What have you guys seen and noticed? What does this make you think and wonder? Turn and talk. Go.
I saw the double rainbow over the water. And I saw that there are guardrails on the path that leads to the wood. She's not following. What is she seeing that we're not seeing? What has
I'm wondering for it's here just to see the landscape, or whether he's hiking and planning on going higher and kind of came to this barrier.
Yeah, she just said wrong spot here. That's okay.
Where's our focus? What are we looking at? But I think my thought is looking at the thing what is she?
Let's go back together here too. And let's go back together once. Before we do some grounding work in that last question here, let's just do some share outs here. What is this photo making you? What are you seeing in this photo? Thinking? What are you wondering too? Don't share out what you thought, or something that you thought was revolutionary that your partner thought. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but my biggest thing that made me wonder is if this is AI generated.
It is. Yep. 100%. Yeah. Describe the photo here, and then and then use AI. What else are you guys seeing, noticing, and wondering? Yeah.
So I guess what I noticed is that like there's a fence on a mountain, and like okay, there's more. Hold on. And then like on her side, there's a waterfall and like this beautiful scenery and a double rainbow, but yet her attention is on the other side.
Adding on to it too, like I wonder, is there anything wrong with the other side too?
No, her side has storm clouds up in the top. It's easier to look away from storms.
But it has a rainbow. Double rainbow.
Double rainbow.
You can see the rainbow when you know the storm is coming.
The other side's got snow-capped mountains too.
She doesn't dress appropriately for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hold on.
What else are you guys seeing, noticing, and wondering?
I went a completely different direction, and I was like, I climbed a very small mountain one time in Colorado, okay, so I didn't run it yet. But when I got to the top of it, I felt very accomplished, like gasping in the thin air. I was like, and then looking around, it was very, very pretty up there, because it's Colorado. And so that's what, it makes me remember like that sense of accomplishment and
Is she on her phone? I can't tell. It looks like she's holding a phone.
She's showing ah.
I thought she was like, there.
I didn't say show, do a girl, I said, hey, I'll show you the drawing maybe later here. What else are you guys seeing, noticing, or wondering? Shit. By herself. By herself?
I wanted to know if it was two separate mountain ranges or if we're looking down on a valley. Is this a U shape? Are we in the middle of the hike, the end of the hike? Also, what's, again, Lindsay said, what's with the fence? How'd that get there? Who took the picture?
I I did not have any of those questions, which is why curiosity is at the bottom of my strengths.
It is very interesting to do, this is what I call a mini therapy session where you guys get to go ahead and see all the things here. And I think there's a bigger connection in how we approach it, how we think our strengths, how we approach the world, our thoughts, our feelings, and how we approach this work, right? When I say we're doing our me work so that we can do our me work, we all come with a unique perspective. Didn't have a specific thing in mind, I definitely have my own thoughts that come into this here. And again, my thoughts is just one part of the whole. And so the thing that I want us to really look at is within this symbolism here, take a second to reflect silently. What might this photo be saying, specifically about our work, our vision, our mission, our values, the me work that we do, before we do the we work? Then we're going to turn and talk. If you're finished with your written reflections, feel free to go ahead and turn and talk with your table groups going.
Well, kind of going on what you said, are we focusing on one thing? I mean, we don't know what's that way. It may be the most beautiful thing. But just from what we can see, are we spending our time? Are we so narrow vision that we're not?
Elevate that.
Huh?
I'm gonna call on you to elevate that.
Okay.
I had something similar. When I'm looking at maybe being more important, but I keep distracted with everything else that's happening.
I said something similar. I mean, that's what we talked about. But I was saying, just because you're focused on what's good, don't ignore focused on your maybe
What do you say?
Oh, no, it's you.
Definitely say you. Told you to elevate.
What do you say? What am I supposed to elevate? Was it you? I'm just trying.
It's all the same idea.
I'm trying to get the person, the people that talk a lot. Today's my day to bully. Huh?
I said it's gonna be your year.
Thank you. I got it at the arts festival thing they did last year.
I mean, they just.
The idea of yeah.
The sentences are never.
Well, I liked what I heard over here, so somebody's gonna hear.
Take it.
How about that?
10 more seconds.
That was very soft. Haha.
All right, we're gonna elevate a few voices here. Carrie, can I have you start off, please?
Well, how this applies to our work makes me wonder if we are focusing on the right things. But then my teammates, I mean, we all three had some variation of this. And, are we focusing on just what we think is important and not listening to other people's focus? Or are we, what was the other thing that I was going to remember and say? What was it?
I don't know, I guess Chris has to say something.
I'm sorry. Okay, it was really good. We're keeping it a secret. But just, it's a reminder that not to get just zeroed in on one thing, but to take it all in. That's what you said, to make sure we're looking everywhere and not at just one thing.
Becky, do you want to add on to some of your guys' reflections?
Mine was a little different than yours, but I just said that whatever we do is gonna take a lot of effort, but when we see her, it's worth it if we get all of you. And, they were talking about the bright spots really matter and taking the time to look for them, things that are really.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. I wanna bring up what Sebastian was saying.
Sebastian, you go ahead and share.
Tell us about what you do.
Every student is getting
You said it one more time, so everyone here too. Here.
So I said, every student is getting the common thing. So every student will have a different perspective. Even though they're all the same, they have different perspectives, different goals, so I have to adapt to them.
I like what Jessica said because it was positive.
The other one.
No. The one that's known for struggling for positivity.
Aww.
I feel like I'm burning. I just said that we should like make sure to look at like all the things and like appreciate everything that's around us. Not just like our own, like when I'm in my classroom and I'm appreciating my stuff and my kids, like, you know, there's the 5th and 6th grade hallway that I never get to see. That's, you know, cool things are happening over there too, and yeah.
Some of the things I'm hearing again is this appreciation and gratitude, seeing the whole picture, right? And also too, like some of the language I'm hearing too is like what we are putting our attention to, right, is like it's very intentional. And so like comes back to some of our priority planning that you guys will see like kind of be rolling out. Again, this also comes from a lot of feedback that we have gotten from teachers throughout this year. Just kind of summarized into sort of a priority plan. With that also being said too, like the one push and the thing that I definitely want to say is like both sides of the mountain are worthy. Both sides have beauty. One, snow-covered mountains for those some of our outdoor folks, man, that is paradise. For others here, like, and I know I got to go to Hawaii with my family. It's like we were trying to plan this trip for 5 years this summer, and I got to do it. And you see that Hawaiian rainbow waterfalls. There's something that's beautiful about that too. Both are really worthy, and we can only look one way at a time. That's gonna be okay. All right, please go ahead and list the slide. So one of the things that I also want to make sure too is like the thing that we can see too within that mountain is no one's saying, hey, that mountain is 10,786 feet. That mountain is this location. Those are some of those things where our data is able to go ahead and like tell us some of those things. If I was to pull up Google Maps, I could see where is that spot here. Say I generated, so you probably be able to find it. But again, in theory, that's the idea. So the thing is, before we jump into our data, it's not just what we do, it's how we do it. There's things that like quantitatively cannot be measured. And so qualitatively, we want to share some stories. We got a few folks that, again, are out. I know, again, we're trying to do some stuff with maintenance, but I want to start with our OGs. I asked them to actually prepare a 1-minute story, just to listen. And so, Lucas, Veronica, you guys were here when we opened up the building when we were a staff size of 15. We've had folks come and go since then, and again, we got 4 folks that helped us still open those doors here. So, who would like to start? And during this story, just listen for like, what does it mean to be a West Side Saint?
I've got two kids I kind of want to highlight and just go over. So I've been here since year 1, and so this last year I got to teach 7th grade, the year before that I taught 6th. So our students that started in 5th grade, I got to see like from the moment they entered the building until now they're going into 8th grade, and will be leaving us after that. So I'll have some allergies in May, and it's going to be okay. But one student in particular, I don't know if I'm allowed to say real name, so I'll call her Juliet. But it's just the grit required as you come in, and so the students been working hard in 5th grade in Cordero's class, last year in my class. This year in my class was the first 2 years, like we really didn't see any data movement, So she like would kind of get almost an even typical growth, but never would meet her tiered growth goals. And so we were able to see just a great pride from her and from the teachers as we just continue to do the right thing over and over, day after day. And this year, all of a sudden, we saw these massive jumps in the data, where it was all of a sudden, it looked like we've been working hard for 2 years. Another student to highlight is just we have Gerson Garza, who, despite what he wants us to believe about him, is pretty amazing. But I actually had conversations about him the other day, and just that you could markedly see the times when his home life, things got a little rockier there. And you could see his in the classroom, what was going on at home, and we're able to have conversations about that. And as we had more teachers and more staff able to step in and bridge that gap for Gerson, you were able to see that recovery and come back to even wanting to do well in class and not just being a place he had to be to move on with his friends. And so just kind of see different students, but grit and growth that as a teacher were able to help them.
The funny thing about all of this is that our first year, the cafeteria wasn't working, so the lunches were delivered to our classroom. We had to give the kids food. And believe it or not, those ones where you're not teaching you, that's when you connect with them. Who will choose in a funny way, who's annoying, who talks the most, who doesn't talk. I don't know. But you get to connect with the parents too. I still have parents that send me messages asking when class starts, and though there's a schedule. But you connect with them because they relate to you, not just because I'm Hispanic, but because they understand that we want the best for their kids. And I still respond to those texts, even though they have a schedule, you know, when they start. And showing love for their kids will make a difference, and I connect with them. All of this 8th graders went to my 5th grade class, so it's going to be a very special year for me. Because I've also grown with them. I didn't study to be a teacher. I suck at math. I still don't know my facts, but I'm drawn with the kids, not in high. It was just, the first year was, we didn't have desks. The day before we started teaching, we didn't have cafeteria. Just the hallway, this one right here was the only one that we were using. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade were in the same hallway. I got confused for students. So now we got practice and everything. It's just so much growth.
My story, again, is the thing that is etched in my memory. Again, like you talk about the entrepreneurial mindset that it takes to open up a school, especially a school who's like legitimate, like planning for being a middle school. Started in April, and then it ended April, and then Liz basically said, "Hey, open up in July." So the thing that I love though is it comes back to one is like what's our core value, mission, vision. Is if the kids want to be a saint, let's create the space for them. We are that second place. We're that second opportunity where, again, they didn't get the opportunity in elementary school, they want that opportunity in middle school, we are that opportunity. And with that being said, like you said, the desks, they arrived 21 hours before we started the students. And I think the important part of it, though, is you have the superintendent here, you had high school teachers here, you had our families that were here. They just said, all right, let's load them off the truck, let's get them into classrooms, let's go set it up. 21 hours before we said, all right, hey, we're starting class with kids. And so I'm gonna just name, again, honestly and candidly, I definitely am having a lot of frustration, and if you hear some of that tone that comes from where our maintenance schedule is, I apologize. I'm gonna try to leave that stays above the line. But I'm also having flashbacks, and I'm also having that message of it's not necessarily the thing that is fair or right, but it's the thing that makes us more special. Is that, hey, we're just doing the things, we're hitting whatever curveball it is, and we're the grittiest school that it is in the district, and now our kids get to benefit because of that. With that being said, this is our first round of, again, learning our story about the things that don't just show up in the numbers. Take 1 minute, turn and talk with your table group. What are some of the reflections that you have as we start this next journey in this next chapter before we get into our year teams now? Turn top over.
I'm glad we have tests. Based on their stories, just the idea of just like learning with the students, and they had it tougher year one, and they were able to learn and grow with the students. And our job should be easier than that with the students.
I got that.
Last year, I was like the first teacher because I had been an administrator and then I took up the State Department of Education. And it's 17 years since I've been in a classroom. And so, my kids still learn. And
Take 15 more seconds.
Ginormous growth, which I think is a testament to what a good team we are. They were getting the same messages everywhere.
Alright, going back together here at 3.
You know.
Going back together here at 2.
So I think we're all okay.
And let's go back together here in 1. So we continue to expand. Here's some other folks that we got to add to our team and family. Again, I want you guys to go ahead and just take your minute and share out again the things the numbers don't show us, the data, with the data, the culture of West DC has been shaped here. Okay, Matt, you start off here with those are good. Your things makes West special.
Okay, well, when I started here, the music program, even though I had only been open for a year, was slight turmoil. The kids wanted nothing to do with that classroom or that program, and now we have a good band.
A really good one.
Yeah.
A really good one too.
Jessica, can I pass it to you?
I don't know who those things is.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
I mean, she was just a game in YouTube.
She was, yeah. It's the words.
Okay,
It
that
is
was
past.
the ghost of myself, I guess.
Yeah.
My last name has changed now because I got married. So, if anybody calls me Ian, I will ignore you. My first year here was rocky. There was lots of downs, but it was also just my first year teaching in the classroom. So I didn't have a lot of confidence or really anything to fall back on. But the thing that saved it for me, and the reason I came back and keep coming back is the people that I met. And just the kids, oh my God. The kids here are just like not the same at other schools in our district. They're so chaotic in such a good way. That's really what I experienced my first year. There was so much chaos. There were a lot of tears, but there was also just like so much warmth and so much like promise of hope that the future would be even better. And if I were looking at my first year self right now, she'd be laughing at me like I'm a stranger. Yeah, I don't know. The coaching here was I met so many great people, and the fact that Tanner is still standing here after all this time, it just like, it really makes me think like, wow, like, if he can do it, I can do it.
was a lot of feelings around it. My first year was very feelings. It was very, lots of tears and like, chaotic, this, and I didn't know what I was doing half the time, and I was trying my best, but I had a very special group of students. They were the wildest bunch in our school, but I loved them dearly, and they loved their teachers dearly, and kind of lost man standing, but inside joke, but yeah, I just like yeah, I don't know. There were people that I loved here that I stayed for, and I want to fix things always. I want it to be the best. And so when I closed that year, I just knew, okay, they're right. Next year is going to be so much better than it was. It was amazing. She's no longer like here in the school, but she's in the district and actually honest. She was a great person. She was very warm and happy to be
Chris? Big thing I saw was just students going from not wanting to read to getting excited about reading. And then seeing that reflected in scores, it's really cool. And then for staff stuff, I also came for Ashley, and she was great, and then she moved on. And then I had my coach last year, who was fantastic, and my teaching partner, who was fantastic. Just give me that support. I felt like it helped see me grow together with the students and grow with the staff. You know, just the support is what I mainly took away from West.
The nice thing too is also Ashley will be here a lot more as our curriculum coordinator. For our folks. Gabe.
Year two, that was, I mean, I think horror stories about year one, but year two was also kind of a ride. I came later in the year, and I don't think that there are much more fiery situations I could have come into. I think I was the fourth math teacher that the kids had gone through, and like probably the 8th or 7th teacher in general. It was a whole roulette door of teachers that were going through. But, and I was a first year teacher, you know, coming in, very first time with kids who were apparently running teachers out the door. Yeah, so against all odds though, we made it to the end, and even when those 8th graders ended up graduating last year, I heard a whole lot of stories, and even gratitude from some of them that I stayed even for the 3 months that I taught them. So it really does take a different kind of resilience to make it all the way through the year. Keep going on.
Val, will you close this out?
Sure. So when I came here, I actually came halfway through the year, similar to Gabe. I made the really difficult choice to leave a different district halfway through the year. So that took a lot of bravery. And you guys during Strong Start, I'll kind of go into my story a little bit more like Tanner did, but I was on the verge of leaving education entirely. And it was because of our previous coach, Jillian, that I actually joined instead of just leaving education entirely. She said, give me 6 months, and then if you still hate it, you can go. But she was right. I didn't hate education. I just wasn't in the right place for me. So I'm still here. I taught writing my first year, or my first half year. Then she kidnapped me and took me into reading. And Chris and I had a really successful year last year. And then Jillian, if you guys don't know, or if you don't know her, first of all, hunt her down and tell her that I said you need to bully her. But she took on a position with Hills, and that word advocate means a lot for me because she advocated for me to kind of step into this role that I am taking on now. So it's been a very whirlwind history with me in Santa Fe South because I've kind of gone multiple places over a very short period of time, but I feel very passionate, similar to the way Jessica said, very like, I kind of live and breathe this school and the work that we do because I think we've got some remarkable people here and we've got some remarkable kids, and I just really owe Santa Fe South a lot of credit to the fact that I'm still in education, and now I get to start, building up other educators, and hoping that I get to, I want the impact to be anybody that's on that verge or ever feels that way, that I want to be the person that keeps them here or keeps them living and breathing Santa Fe South.
I think the power of storytelling is one of the greatest things that we can do to create connectedness. I encourage us to continue to master our own stories this year. And so with that being said, take another second. We're going to talk with your table group. Actually, sorry. Go to your Saint partner. And then I want you guys to go and try and talk about what resonated with you. Find your Saint partner. Where we talk. Oh, we did the same partner? Yes. Oh, well, you know what? Do your kindness partner. Let's do your kindness partner. Kindness. What resonated with you with the story?
Daniel.
Turn it on. What resonated with you with those stories? What resonated with you with those stories?
Tell us something funny.
So you're Sam right now too, right? Yes, I'm Sam, so we're just together now. That's gonna happen because I said so. Why do you join us? Read. So the thing with that is that I made it I did get you in the bid. Have you read the saxophone since? You went and you bought a saxophone, and then you have to read it.
That was the last year, right?
Alright, good. My excuse is to not play it.
Their first year in beats were my first year. And I'm telling you, it was a wild first year. I had a very tough year.
Just sit there and just
But that's the culture in West. It's culture of greatness. Like before that, they have learned to use them.
You can.
Different races.
It's the
Bands and they felt like that. So they've been trying to make them flexible. Like, we tried to.
my book's partner.
Yeah. But then they realized you didn't do that to me. And then there was a shift from semester 1 to semester 2. It was so different. Yeah. And they entered the classroom and saw me and they were a little surprised. So like, he's still here, you know? And people listen to us.
20 more seconds. 20 more seconds. Go ahead and go back to here.
There will be a rough time for you.
Wrap up where you're at in 2. And come on back together here in 1. You guys can either grab a seat right where you're at or stand. We're going to be up and moving here in a second. But one of the things I want to talk about here first is before we now get into, before we get into data, there's one thing I just want to make sure we're stamping. It's not just what we do, it's how we do it. That's our culture. And so now we're going to be shifting gears where we're going from some of that qualitative things, the things that make us special, to now really getting behind the numbers and saying, are we answering some of the questions and like making sure the vision and mission are becoming true. Data is a buzzword in education. And with that being said, I think the quality of a school is dependent on a relationship with data. Not only how we collect and use it, but how we think about it, talk about it, and feel about the data. Most educators have a bad relationship with data before forming one that's effectively needed. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this norm. For those who are returning, this feels very, it's just another thing that we're doing here. It's the same thing. So there is, on this page here, you'll see the DIKW pyramid.
Are you asking us to stay in our partners?
Just stay in your partners, we're going to be moving here. Yep. So you guys need to take a seat or stand where you're at. Because we'll be moving here very quickly. So the first thing, your base level, is data. It's the collection of raw value sets in response to a stimulus such as a question or a task. The question that we ask is, what is happening? From there, we shift into information. That's our data plus our context. When, where, with whom. Knowledge. Data plus context plus finally the interpretation. That's where we ask the why question. And then wisdom. What's the plan? Data, context, interpretation, strategic planning. Y'all's feedback here, our community's feedback, our students' feedback, our quantitative numbers, they all go into that wisdom and that idea of what is our strategic plan. But a lot of times here, and this is where, again, data becomes the buzzword, is we jump from data to wisdom. Without going ahead and seeing all sides of the mountain. Before picking in on what are we going to zoom in on. So, I also want to remember too, as we see data and as we see numbers, I know we have some very competitive folks. We got folks that have enormous high expectations. Data is a compass, it is not a mirror. A compass tells us which direction we're going. It's the collection of raw values. Data is supposed to be empowering. It's an essential part of making meaning. The mirror is the reflection on yourself. That plan of action can be dehumanizing. It's not the only thing that measures student success. It's a critical part. But again, that's why our stories matter so much. So with your grit partners, go find them. What is one commitment you will make to yourself and your team? What priorities are going to be illuminated? Turn it top of your grade book. We are on this page, by the way.
So I don't know if you heard, but I came so I was like, let's cart. It's so crazy that they I designed this one. So we got.
That's exactly what it is. So let's jump into these numbers here. We're going to be talking about the growth and the achievement, some of the things that we got to see. Can we go ahead to the next slide, please?
I'm going to borrow this here.
So there's one of the biggest things that I want to be able to start with our celebration here is how we compare how we are growing versus how we are achieving. NWA Math is a nationally normed assessment. So your growth percentile, that is the ranking, it's a percentile ranking of the school, team, whatever it is, compared to our math growth norms for each grade in between two testing terms. So again, that's answering how much are we growing and how much are we growing compared to others around the nation. Achievement. How are students doing relative to each other? How well are they performing? So the 50th percentile, right? That is the norm. That's typical growth, that's typical achievement. Anything above those numbers basically means that we are accelerating student growth or achievement. So I want to go ahead and I want to do something here. Last Friday I started this year. I got 7th and 8th grade done. I went to go pick up James. I came back on Saturday. I don't know. I only have those done. So this is an incomplete data set. I just want to preface that, and I want to apologize for that. There's something that's going on with my account. I'll get it figured out, and we're going to continue this celebration so that we can see the 5th and 6th part. So again, this is half of our students data here that we're going to celebrate. We're going to complete this, but I do think I want to make sure, even though it's half of our data set, this is a very powerful activity, I think, to go ahead and really see the little student growth. Because here's the big aha. So when we go ahead and we get to our grid over here, every time we're moving right, that is where in our vision we're saying we are closing the opportunity gap for students. That's what we're doing. Every time we move up, that is the celebration of success and growth, an accelerated growth of that. Go ahead and turn the slide here. So there's my quick sorry. So here is what I want to go ahead and do. I already got that here. Go ahead and do one more slide. Sorry. So you're going to see your cards to literally see the movement and growth of our students. I passed out, again, these cards to half of our teachers here. It's going to break up our 4 quadrants. This is going to be, this quadrant right over here is going to be low growth, low achievement. This one is high growth, high achievement. This quadrant.
High growth, low achievement.
Sorry, high growth, low achievement. Yes, high growth, low achievement. Thank you. This one here is going to be high achievement, low growth. High growth, high achievement.
Red, yellow.
Yep.
Red,
So you got
orange, yellow, blue.
red, orange, yellow, blue. So I want us to go ahead and start off. These are the different teams. If you are a reading teacher first, look at that front of your page. It's got your name in parentheses. go to the spot that represents the cohort of our students from last fall. These are 7th and 8th grade team teachers. Go to that spot relative on the map. Just reading first. Reading first.
Red, orange, blue, yellow.
Hey, I'm gonna really quickly have you guys shout out who's your team that you were representing here. So, Lindy, whose team are you representing?
Stockhammer.
Mock? Whose team are you representing?
Ramirez. My team. My own team.
Mendez.
Serrano. Lunsford.
Risley, you're.
Myself.
So, here's the thing. Watch the literal student movement. Hey folks, flip the page over, move to your new spot.
Red, orange, blue, yellow. Red, orange, blue, yellow.
No way. I was lying. There's no way.
I did not start in the right spot.
What do you guys notice? This is where they ended. This is the year. This is what we did. When you literally see the student growth, just shout out. What are you guys noticing?
Yeah!
Yeah, let's go right. This is amazing. We are closing the opportunity gap. Again, we're looking at it at all these folks who are moving above that 50th percentile for when it comes to growth. And again, the more we move up, the more we will move right over time. Hey, let's switch this here. Let's go math. If you got a thing for math, go ahead, find your spot.
Emily, I want to see that paper right there.
But also it wasn't her reading.
So do it for math. So you can start off in the fall. Yep.
Well, now I gotta embarrass myself again.
Yeah, I was trying to plot the X and the Y. 4.7.
Okay. Hey, so get to your roughly your right spot. So again, this is where we start off in the fall. Let's go ahead and let's talk about whose team we are representing. And then let's literally see the student growth. Conley, whose team are you representing?
Whoever Gian is.
Oh, yeah. Gillen the villain? I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Stockhammer.
Smart, sparkly unicorns, babe.
Myself. My own team.
My own team as well.
Myself.
Feel free to celebrate here. Flip the page. Literally, let's see that student move.
I didn't just say that I was so wrong, so I wasn't proposed.
Hey, grow it!
We'll get the 5th and 6th graders. I'll figure out what's up with my account here. Take a second. Go back to your tables. Turn and talk. What does this mean for our students? What does this mean for our students seeing that literal student growth? Go back to your tables. Turn and talk.
What did you say? Math is absolutely killing it. I do it's like it's looking a lot more. So I'm like wondering where is the rest of the group that is going above you? Because I'm guessing that's just the average of the group, not individuals. So if the average is high achieving, I mean there's a lot of people that are going far above it.
Hi, Tanner.
Hello there.
Just putting it on the record.
Yep.
They
But they still do.
Alright, let's go ahead, let's come on back together here in 3. Let's go ahead, let's come on back together here in 2. And let's go ahead, let's come on back together here in 1. So, I want to go ahead and I want to show us off. Again, where's the stories of the collective? Again, this will include some of our 5th and 6th graders here as the average, not just the teams. This was spring of 25. So not this last spring, but the spring before. We talked about year 2 at West. Okay. That was for math. Take a second, reflect on it. Let's see how we change it. Yeah. Damn. Let's look at it for reading. Oh, pause. Remember, this is year 2. 25. Okay. We made some changes, right? We learned, we knew what we needed to do. Let's change. Let's see how we change.
I'm allowed to be excited.
The thing that is also too, like, what does not show up on just that data too, and for folks that have like talked about too, like that have been in education for a hot minute, you change the culture. You don't just move up right here, but to go from like below that 50th percentile to above that 50th percentile, you need to rewrite that culture. And that is something where again, every single person had a part in this here to help raise that culture. So let's look at cohort growth. We talk about our incoming 5th graders, the ones that are really dear to Lucas and Veronica, who've got to teach them throughout this time here. This is where they started off in math and reading. This is where they are leaving the spring and coming into the fall. Take a second. What literal reflections do you have seeing the student cohort growth? One of the biggest things that I want to say too, for those who are new and unfamiliar with math, if we do what's average, if we do what a normal teacher does, the bar on the far left looks exactly identical to the far right. We grow kids 1 year in 1 year's time, and they look identical. Hey, take a second, turn and talk. What reflections do you have? Go. Alright guys, going back together here in 3. Going back together here in 2. Going back together here in 1. As long as we continue to move up past that 50th percentile, these numbers are going to be changing. They're going to be changing rapidly. You're already seeing some of the fruits of the labor, especially too as we start shifting from that year 2 to year 3. Really need to see like where we know that okay, so this is So with that being said, here's the thing that I'm gonna name. I'm gonna do some bright spots before we do a gallery walk. This is something to get ready to snap here. Hey, again, one of the things that I'll say is there's gonna be individuals that are highlighted, and at the same time, even at convocation when they're shouted out, every single person had an impact on raising the culture of the building. Something that, again, that we have the wisdom to see that with that. So keep that in mind. These are bright spots that are going to be shouted out, and know that you help support. So first here, let's shout out, hey, Mr. Shelton here. Over 50% students. A significant increase in AOA too. Hobbs, he is now an instructional coach at the Hills. AOA being above the 50th percentile. Miss Nettleton here, she is moving back to Choctaw. She's going to go ahead and be closer to home. So yes, I got 50% students being here goal. Gigi, it's tremendous. Increase in red and orange. Increase in blue and green. Lunsford, here. Decrease in red and orange, increase in blue and green. Hermes.
I don't know who that is.
The ghost of Banzil. Yeah, we got Bengal. 50% tiered. Significant decrease in red and orange. Woodard. 50% tiered growth goals. Reading Foundations mock. 50% and the thing that is also not shown is the percent of kids who went from below the 10th percentile to above the 10th percentile. That is a key metric too. Similarly, Walker is the same thing here. Dukes with our ELL. Here are some of the crazy growth, which again, when you talk about it, you're like, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't happen, this is very abnormal here. And again, it's not just one person knowing it, but it's the culture of the building that helps us do this. So these are our superstars. They're going to get a little extra celebration here. It's over 50% tier growth, typical growth that was shattered. The one step up idea, they're doing that. I mean, it's just celebrating all the things, all the metrics. So first up here, we have none other than Veronica Lopez Cordero. Over 50% of students meet growth goals. 80% of students on track to meet typical growth goals. Actually, 80% in that tier. There's only one student that did not meet typical. Increased AOA. Eliminated the red, in which 46% of students entered her cohort in the red. That's the best ever in the district. And last, our other queen who is now back in Austria here is Ms. Stockhammer. Again, over 50% of students meeting tier growth goals, 80% on track to meet typical, increased AOA, shrunk the red and orange, grew the blue and green, again hitting all of the metrics. We have so much to celebrate. I want that to keep going on. We say, we are great, and how do we go from great to better? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to be doing a gallery walk within the DIKY pyramid. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. At each table, you're going to see different data metrics. You'll take 5 minutes, and you're going to focus on just the data acquisition. So, again, look for folks, make it visible here if you're at your table. I want you to gallery walk. We're going to be looking at different cohorts of kids. And again, we're focusing on the data. Here's what I want us to do. Go ahead and jump into what numbers do you see in isolation? My example, Veronica Lopez Cordero had 85% of students meet tier growth. The percentage of Jessica's students that are AOA went from 27 to 41%. That is a data noticing. What numbers do you see in isolation? A non-example, a start at the bottom of the pyramid is 8th grade math had better tier growth than 8th grade reading. That's, no. Yeah, blank teacher did better than their partner teacher in terms of goals. That is not data. That is jumping to wisdom here. That is false wisdom. Avoid the false wisdom. Focus on just the data. You guys have 5 minutes. Go ahead. Start looking at those numbers. You guys can use this page where it has the data to record. Gallery walk, right? Turn the page. Right there. Yep.
What's your pacing look like for student culture?
We're gonna be like 10 minutes behind, but we also start 10 minutes later.
Okay. I would communicate that to the students as well.
I'll see if I can make up some time here in a second.
Okay.
Too.
Too much symbolism.
Thank you. Thank you.
He needs to help me out. He needs to help me out.
Yes. No, I'm just working on it. Family comes first.
You got it in your back pocket. Yeah, I bring it back.
Alright, go ahead and come on back together here with 3. Come on back together here with 2. Just go ahead and pause where you're at and just track in 1. Sorry, let me reiterate. Thank you. Okay. A couple things I want to go ahead and do is we're going to go deeper and deeper into this data here. So a couple guiding questions, right? And we're actually going to share out to just kind of silent solo reflection, so that way we don't add too much information or context in. But think to yourself here, what data are you going to go look at deeper? What data do you think will be important to illuminate future wisdom? So again, a question stem or a sentence stem that you may ask yourself is, the data that caught my attention is blank, insert the raw number. Or the data that I'm going to ask what, where, when, and who questions about is blank, insert the raw number. Because I'm curious about blank. I'm going to reset the time to 5 minutes. Let those 2 things here, plus what you notice, help you answer the who, what, and when questions. Before you do that, actually, sorry, I need to work on my MVPT directions here. This information here, right? Just giving an example and a non-example. Avoid interpretation creep. So, for instance, 7th grade EL newcomers had only 20% tier growth compared to 67% and 75% tier growth for 6th and 8th graders respectively. So that's where you can start to add like just the two little comparisons, but avoid what the information creep might look like, where you say it's that same thing because their class must have been 8th period or earlier. Avoid adding context. Those cohort of students were within 5% of meeting tier growth goals compared to their partner teachers. Again, even with a positive thing, avoid interpretation creep. It's that same question or sentence said, therefore, coaching, curriculum, and sport must have been equal. So just avoid the interpretation creep. We're going to get curious. All right, take another 5 minutes. Go deeper into your gathering information. Go.
It always looks like I don't want to like spread out. That doesn't seem right. Are they all? I know because I'm all spread out.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but I think it's a great question. A lot of the stuff you can implement something like this to work with people. So if you don't respond to every person,
Alright, y'all, go ahead and pause where you're at. So, let's go deeper one more time. And this is where I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes to find the next 2 slides. So just track as we go to building knowledge and then wisdom. So, ask how and why questions. So to build knowledge, some examples may look like, why were some of the bright spots able to succeed? How and why did data shift from fall to spring? How did school and grade level culture impact student growth? Non-examples of this. The teacher with the highest tier growth percentage must be the best teacher in the school. Teachers that did not meet goals must not be successful teachers. There's a lot of danger whenever we jump too far to assumptions here. So again, take the next 5 minutes here, right? You're going to do the knowledge, and then here's the next part with that, adding on. The wisdom and understanding, you guys are already starting to do that here. You'll reflect with your kindness partner, you'll find them and say, what are the things that you can own and do to ensure collective student improvement? What are some of the reflections, questions, and probably the practice you want to take to your content-based team and grade level-based team? And what do you think might be some of the school's priorities? Take the next 5 minutes, build some knowledge, then connect with your kindness partner and build some wisdom. Go.
Where we landed. Obviously, you want your kids to like, you want to discuss state tests to all the student stuff, but like, thinking about like from fifth grade all the way through eighth, I feel like sixth grade. I also noticed that like the students really good job of like getting you would that stuff closer.
I agree, but seeing it like this shows like we did grow.
I don't think that's a bad thing either, though. I think it's. I mean, it was both of our first year full time reading.
It also does, kind of show like Ash, how much of that they do is your she's
gonna be with me when it's happening.
She's working on it.
She is going to so my systems. So like how people would trail on Jillian sometimes. She'll do that with me. And then she still does curriculum. She also
No, I think it's really
Heidi will be around a lot too. She scares me, but I'm not gonna, I can't let her know that. I feel like she smells me.
I was like, I jumped up and down like in privately. Yeah,
She'll be here for my content launch on Friday.
Or like he
made a new agenda. Sorry. I didn't want to use Jillian's agenda, so I made a new agenda. Do you have access to? I said it. Yeah,
It's just.
Should be on at 0. Yeah. I mean, you have the pace. I sent out the pacing guide now, so you don't want might be on there too.
I think it was 0.
Okay. I haven't started that far in advance. Specifically it's okay. I should say it's the same as what we landed on in. So your first reading from us, like actually fiction, is always going to emphasize, right? You would think in the things that you would do, like the non-fiction first reads are going to be summaries, which I actually like. And then there's a change.
Take one more minute. Take 1 more minute. Sorry.
Trying to like touch base with everything instead of just using the wild reading tracker as a way to know like are they actually
Yeah.
Well, that's my goal for the first 3 weeks is like building up teachers, you know.
No, I
resources for
also agree with that. It was like he started answering stuff in class where I was like, that was a very profound answer that you thought of. Even like because before he would just
Yes, you guys also already have, we're starting with study guides.
Yeah.
So, my goal,
yeah, it was always
I guess, I want to make sure that when we get to those, because it's already in there, it's poetry, like when we get to those systems that are continuously show up, let's make them go to their study guide.
The best is at 5 minutes.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm interested.
You're making it
we've had to look doing this leadership training stuff, so we've had to look at.
It was really
So I'm interested to know what math is doing. I mean, obviously,
not that I'm always dreading for him to answer to answers like
yeah, but I'm wondering, because I'm noticing that they seem to have extreme growth, just content-wise. I'm curious to know why.
Any kind of excuse.
Alright, y'all. Go ahead and work your way back to your original table, please.
Sorry, I know I wasn't actually part of it.
That's okay.
I wonder, him and Nathan, who I don't think he had a friend, but he also
Let's get back to our tables here. 10 seconds. Yes, sir. So some of the wisdom that I've gotten to marinate on this data for a lot longer than y'all have. Again, I just sent out the slide deck so you guys can continue to marinate on it. But the data that I got to marinate all throughout the summer here, I want to start off with like the maintain and the glows. First, some of the things that I got to see. When we talk about the Read to Reading Initiative, and we talk about incorporating literacy and growing our students in the Read quintile, that was the highest percentage of students being tiered reading. It was just in that Read quintile. Yeah, that's so great. Yeah. So again, our interventionists, our specialists, continue to own. That's going to be your focus, right? Continue to maintain that idea of Read to Reading. Our focus students, right? We're continuing to do that. Like whether, again, regardless of content, who is the kid that you're owning here? And again, we saw a lot of that with our after teachers, all of the English teachers, we know about science teachers. I'm not quite sure on that, but again, with that idea of identifying who's the kids that you're targeting really invest in. So we're going to keep doing that. The STAT culture of belonging through onward, again, pulling that same thread through. And then the arc of the year, that first time instruction. That is so critical for moving the needle. We just gotta keep those things that we're doing. Now again, we talk about like the adding and strengthening. So there's little shifts. With that being said, like what are our priorities this year? And so you're gonna legitimately see Madeline's time and my time and then Ashley's time when she's here. Right? Where there is gonna be a little bit heavy as we zoom in. Because what we wanna do is for 5th grade reading, we wanna go on green and yellow. Yeah! That's one of those things where we've kind of like seen a little bit of a plateau with it. So let's see if we can go ahead and just go from great to better. Now again, my Californians here, Jessica, Gabe, I know this is probably the secret a little more. But we're gonna have no mellow yellow math for 6th and 7th grade math teachers here. Woo! Yeah! What have you got there for the growl? For mellow yellow math? Well, mellow yellow? So, okay.
You're gonna explain.
Here's the idea. Okay, well, then this level of humor, my little cycle. So, mellow yellow. Here, Jessica, were you here for mellow yellow? There. I just saw you go. Okay, good idea. Thank you, Mel. Hey, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. We're not gonna let the yellow be alone. So okay, we're gonna take care of it. And again, we're gonna continue that collective efficacy of learning here. So yeah, okay. Yeah, turn it quick, Tanner. We're turning it quick.
California people are like this.
I know we are. Okay. Hey, so I want to go ahead and I want to invite you guys over real quickly here before we talk about Arc of the Year. And so there's some symbolism, and there's these two quotes that really stand through. And I'm going to give you guys some time before you leave. You guys are going to have a cup. And actually, can I have the leaders, our coaches, to kind of help start to do this here? So two quotes that have like really been anchoring me this summer is the idea that a rising tide raises all ships. The other part too is I was like watching Vikings for the first time because I was obsessed with Norway and their World Cup run. And there's this quote, within the rowing, if all you ever do is bail, so you're bailing the water outside the boat, then all you will ever do is bail. So with that being said, I think one of the things in my symbolism here is, and like the thing that I'm owning as a leader, is my cup is only so big. And some of the feedbacks that I've gotten from my leaders is when things get hard, there's like this ownership that I feel that I want to be able to be supportive to where I hold all the water. And I hold all the water, but at the same time, my cup is only so big, and I know that, and I'm only human. And so the thing that I want to talk about with this Arc of the Year and the collective efficacy, and so you guys will get to see a little visualization. Now I'm going to invite you guys to kind of pour some of your water here. Is again, a rising tide raises all ships. That first cup does not raise the ships. My coaches, can you guys add your water? And as you see, as we continue to add more water, again, those ships, our students will begin to rise. Our red and our blue, our green, our orange, our yellow. So here's what I want you guys to do. In the next minute here, I want you guys to go ahead. I want you guys to kind of alternate, read through this Arc of the Year on this page and this page, while you go ahead and come on over and add water to help raise the tides. Take a minute, read it, add your water. You guys can do the same. We can even line up and read, but that's one of the things that I want us to be doing. Add your water to help rise the tide.
I want to get some water. Watch out.
Have some zest. Come on.
Thank you.
So hey, go ahead and walk here. Go fill up your water. Take your cup, fill it up. Go over there.
Yeah. Oh, you got
There we go. There we go. That's what I like to see. Mr. McMahon, what's going on?
Good, how are you? I'm doing good. I got accident.
Your nails are really cute. What's wrong with these ones? Why can't I pour it there?
Do it. Do it.
But what if I just put a little razzle dazzle here that I was like,
I love it.
I don't.
Yes.
What part of the Sonoma students, is this like are they paid?
Doesn't matter right
oh, Tanner, is that
No, you're not. You guys can leave the cups too if you want to. sit down and just hear read over.
Say more. Say more.
intentional about our doing our. You would help me do all my videos.
Hey, that's at TFA. That's at TFA.
I have to,
Together we run.
it's an extra goal. So we have to do three videos a quarter. So like this one is like a video back. Well, they said to ask your questions up. So I would just say when you come and monitor me, well, we'll plan, yeah, we'll plan them out. But it's like routine building, so Dr. Stack, and I have the other one written down. We got
That would have been fun, like,
You also, you could look at the list of what we can do, and you'd be like, oh, you're really good at this. Sometimes I don't think I'm very good at this.
I know. I'm like also like rushing things through because I'm behind on my timestamps.
Talking
like
mostly.
always.
I'll take it.
Make sure you guys have read your arc of the year.
There we go.
Okay, I read this one. This is why I'm looking. Okay. Just so you know, I'm not over here just checking my phone and reading a magazine.
I would not drink coffee at this point. No, I'm afraid people expect their news. I just hear it. I do it. I stop. Thank you.
There's some reflection. Alright, share it out. Alright, y'all, go ahead and take your seats here.
Our strawberries come. I'm so upset.
Take your seats, take your seats.
My dad started
So, a couple tiny reflections, and I don't know if you can tell, I'm definitely off on my timestamp. This is my rustiness coming out in my practice here. So, I go and rush a little bit. But again, I want to start the conversation, so I usually tenuous stuff to say this week and so on and so forth. There was a couple really interesting reflections I had. Actually, Joe, I wanted to shout out Ken. Ken, what was one of your big reflections or questions that you asked? When you're
Wait,
doing
I
the
was
work?
over here?
Yeah.
Why I couldn't pour it into both buckets, like I remember going pour it into the one, so I went ahead and just poured it in both.
And then, can I just stamp to the moment that Miss Donnelly starts pouring into both, the line overwhelmingly just started doing that as well, right? Trendsetter, we see, we lead through action.
Think about that arc of the year and like this part here. Sage, there's another thing Joe pointed out too. You said or asked.
The blue and the red.
Oh.
Yes.
Good. They're only in the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I noticed that the blue and the red were in one bucket, and it made me think, is there like symbolism here? It almost made me wonder, like, maybe we have to pour in a little bit more to our blue and red kids, like, or maybe we need to, frankly, I don't really know what came around the sides.
Let's build the wisdom together and let's ask the question.
That's a really good thing.
Jasmine wants to build on that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, the reason that I poured into the bucket with the pre-cum
I want to shout out, I'm going to shout out Maria. Not necessarily for you to share anything, but talking about like this culture of community that we have. Maria was sitting down and talking to Andrew, is that correct? About Arc of the Year, and just it was putting into practice this idea of the rising tide, like without being prompted to help a teacher, we are here helping one another.
So I want to go ahead and I want to stand and like kind of push through before we kind of tie a bow on this. And there's a couple things where our student culture priority plan that I'm going to combine with our culture playbook tomorrow. With that being said, one of the other quotes that I said is like, hey, you know, if all you do is bail, all you will ever do is bail. And so that's where this Kickstarter Start of the Year also comes into play too, with the rising tide. And one of the things I want to name is there's going to come a time in this year where, again, we're going to see it, we're going to feel some water come into our boat. That is something I am going to promise you. There's going to be difficulties. And again, our initial reaction is we need to bail, and we do. And also too, if all we ever do in that time where it's really hard is bail, and we don't fix the hole, we don't get better, then all we will ever do is bail. So again, that is going to be my challenge for us too. And in this idea of this Arc of the Year and this Kickstart, there's going to be times where like, I need to do some grading. And my coach wants to come in and talk about, you know, maybe it's lesson plan or delivery. Maybe it seems misaligned. That's how we patch the holes. So a couple of things that I want to show too is that Arc of the Year, that's what you guys were looking at. This is that school-wide focus. Kickstart, it really helps us be able to differentiate and then also push to say, what are some of the tools that we do to continue to grow? How we grow, right? Because again, I have complete faith. This team is going to raise the tide. And this team is going to be able to bail and fix holes and have both of those things be true at the same time. And it's going to be hard. The one thing I cannot promise is an easy year. But also too, man, we got the right people for the right thing. So our observation feedback cycles, what that's going to look like here is those are going to be coming in. And it's great too. We have this student culture too, where our students are so used to adults coming in and out of the room here. For some of those who have not been in that same culture, it's going to be like just another day. So leaders are going to be observing and giving feedback. The important part of this is it's partnership conversations. Feedback comes not just top down, it comes bottom up, it comes laterally too. That's how we rise to the time. We help each other out. With that then being said, but then we have these things called O3s, stands for one-on-one. Get it? We'll have a little acronym section in our, that needs to be updated here. And so there's a lot of acronyms to learn the language. It's then when we're going ahead and we're working with our coach to improve our pedagogy. And again, sometimes it may feel like fixing a hole and we need to bail. And sometimes too, we need to know too, like there's got to be that time where we're like, yeah, we actually need to pause, fix the holes to bail. Both of those things can be true. But with that being said, it's being responsive to how are we helping students grow? That's the big question. And so with that too, we'll set some goals. This is how we make sure that the progress that we're making is helping us rise to time. There's two types of goals. There's performance goals. Again, it's that data that we see, that we get to see in our gallery wall. It's also our development goals. What are we both observing? Also videoing. That's something I'm going to be pushing our coaches to do a lot more of this year. It's a lot more videoing. And being able to reflect and see like what are some of the things that we can do to help the student learn. So we got the art. I'm skipping that. I want to close out with some Spark Survey. So Spark Survey data. This is delivered twice a year and it impacts our priority plans. We'll talk more tomorrow with our culture priority plan within our culture playbook. I'll just make a couple shifts because I want to make sure that we also get the lunch and have a good time. So with that being said, this is something that's delivered twice a year for folks who are brand new. Once kind of end of quarter one, and then once at the beginning of quarter four. I think the important part that I want to always acknowledge too is that when we're cultivating culture, let's start with the quotes. All of these were strengths, and they all grew over from just the year itself and from years past. The individual purpose. Our work is meaningful, we understand our why. The outcomes, our success, we feel successful in our work. Our outcomes and satisfaction, we are satisfied with our work, and this is our quality. outcomes or intent to return. We want to come back and continue to work. These are again some of the bright spots. There's a lot of other bright spots where our data was really good, where our culture was really good. Let's just take a second here, especially for some of our returning folks here. What is one way where some of these bright spots shown last year for the top goal?
We never took our eyes off of the water. That was always our why are we here? And that kind of got that going. For other reasons, like got an administrative one one closer to home.
It's definitely different.
They all left either because of
Take 10 more seconds.
Right. Yeah, so that got they all stayed somewhere else.
Alright, let's go back together here in 3. Let's go ahead, let's go back together here in 2. And let's go back together here in 1. So, in this next stage here, again, the survey data, individual conversations, all the collection of small qualitative and quantitative data is led into some of our bigger plans and overarching plans that all lead into one and how we are looking at the big picture. And with this being said, so some of the things that were lowest on our SPARK survey were these 3 things. And with that being said, it's not to say that they were weaknesses, they just weren't our top strengths. Just like our strengths line. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to cherry pick 2 quotes. When you do the SPARK survey, there's the quantitative, you measure it. There's also opportunities where you add some of the comments here. And again, I was looking at specifically some of the things where it was popping up from the lowest and the alignment. And again, this is cherry picked information. There's a lot of really good stuff. But 2 anonymous quotes that really just went and weighed heavy on my heart are these. I've had multiple teachers say extremely unprofessional things from the students. I haven't done nothing about it. It is important for all staff to receive the value. We all have our off days, and I know we're human, but that shouldn't reflect how we communicate with each other. I'm just going to pause for a second. Let whatever feelings that need to come, let's feel the feelings. That's okay. Just take a second to silently just let it sit. The thing that I don't know who said this here, and I'm on this survey. So I cannot make an individual thing from the relationship side of things, but what I can do is I can think about the general direction that we're setting here. So there's a couple of reflections and pushes for my knowledge here that I was thinking through. First thing, my first response here, you can see this might be this man. Again, as I'm trying to embrace my inner Ted Lasso, and I have to be better and show up more. Also, to not hold all the water in my cup. That's my error. My bias as a leader, because I always try to go ahead and hold on to much water. I know my cup is so big, this is about all of our stuff. If we communicate, we have communication problems with each other, how are we communicating with students? One of the things that I look at too is looking at it from a strengths-based lens. My number 1 strength is humor. The thing about strengths, where we'll talk about it more too in some of our other community circles, is if you overuse your strength, the overusing of humor and how that can damage relationships. We've all probably been on the butt of the end of a bad joke that really stung and hurt. I think we have a very joyful community, and also too how much did some of these things become from an overuse of our strengths. How is our model of communication trickling down to undesired student behaviors, which is something that we're talking about? Another thing is like, as a couple, the admin versus approach. How do we create a culture of communication, community, and crucial accountability within the team? And the biggest position I want to make sure that I'm taking this year is how do I lead from within versus from the front, the back, or the side? So here's a couple things that are coming specifically when we talk about relationships and teamwork. Trying to align some of this wisdom to intent to action. So we are going to be continuously cycling through different culture principles. There's an organization that we're partnering with, culture.org, which you'll actually see from this student culture pre-work here. There is some 11 principles that we're recycling through these 3 principles. Again, my big ask is when I send out the West Weekly, there's a Google form attached with it. And again, it's just a progress monitoring each week. How are we doing on this principle, this principle, this principle? I want you to continuously cycle through this here. We're going to cycle through staff culture meetings every 3 to 4 weeks. They're ready to go live. I have them on my Google Calendar. But I wanted to make sure that I named this before, like, I just send it out to the whole staff, like what this looks like, so you're not freaking out, like, what the hell is thing they're doing, talk about this thing that's after school. So every 3 to 4 weeks after school on Mondays, I want you guys to send a rep from your team. Grade level team, elective team, production team, all be there. Meet in our little conference room, and we'll look for 1% actions. And again, my whole thing is I want to lead from within. I'm positioning myself to be a listener and a co-leader, not a team. And we're looking for those 1% actions. Like, what is something everyone can do tomorrow? And hopefully we can get to places too where, like, again, some of our folks, you know, we hear about it. Like, we look at like the bathroom incident, like bubble up, bubble up, bubble up, bubble up, and all of a sudden they address it, quick action. Otherwise, we're going to be in deep shit.
Sorry.
Yep, that's perfect. We can go ahead and we can be more proactive with that. And here's the other part too: make the priorities priorities, and know that everyone's cut on the book too much. Just pause and reflect. What is coming to mind? And I want this to be like a little quick, solo reflection, and then at lunch maybe we can talk.
Do you want us to write it down or share out?
You can silent reflection, however you want to, whether it's a written reflection or silent here for a second. We'll talk. I want to make sure that I give the whole piece before we reflect on it. The next part here is cultivating culture since we're sustainability. Again, as a principal, I cannot promise an easy time. I don't think any principal, unless there's some disillusionment, can promise an easy job. What I do want to do to work towards is flourishing conditions. Now, Laker quotes, again, you notice that quotes really resonate with me. Back of the lines. It is. Yes, it is. As you can tell, I love, my son loves me pasta. So, the big thing here is when we talk about flourishing conditions, if everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. Your cup can only fill so much. But at the same time, too, we want to make sure that we are filling our cup with the big rocks and making sure that we're aligning the priorities that are going to move the needle most. Again, there's things that we need to drop off. We drop those things off. Again, it's aligning the big rocks with priorities. Make the priorities priorities. And all you do is fail, and all you'll ever do is fail. Again, we have to continuously grow. As someone who is a swimmer and a water polo player and top swim and stuff like that, all you're doing is floundering here, right? You don't learn to swim here, it just becomes really, really hard. Let's learn to float and let's learn to swim. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. There's the repeat. We all have a cup. Let's choose where we pour that water. The rising tide, when we pour it together, man, it's a beautiful thing here. So some of the actions I'm thinking through here is identifying and implementing critical actions with fidelity. We want to build more consistency, more competence in the curriculum. I know for our math and reading folks, there's a curriculum shift. And so seeing just that, like right there, having some consistency is going to be huge. We're going to get our feet wet with this training called Together Teacher here. So again, you're going to get a month where it may feel like you're floundering a little bit, especially for some of our folks who are brand new to the school, like trying to understand it. And then in September, we'll talk about how do we take our big rocks and align them to our time, which are the most valuable resource. And then go create community and connection with people. Yeah, no one of us holds the cup, we all hold the cup. We all do the And so then the last thing too is working on our efficacy, my communication. How do I go ahead and how do I continue to stand and be more consistent in my communication? How do I ensure that I'm requiring more distributed leadership with focus and accountability? And so like with that too, that comes from our culture of time and community. You'll see, again, you guys will get like a Google invite here after this meeting. You're like, oh my gosh, there's value in my man. And just something like that. And so here's where we need your help. We are the code creators of the culture. Take that mindset and disposition. Come prepared to ensure you are plugged into communication systems. Provide feedback. Be willing to be part of the solution. So, we'll talk more about this cultivating culture here. The one thing that I do want to go ahead and I want to just like stand as a lead out here.
The story is about.
So one of the things that I really want us to focus on, and just to kind of close out before we go ahead, we dismiss our team picture and then launch here, is this idea that, again, things don't happen overnight. It's not just what we do, it's how we do it. And it's okay to go slow to go fast, because again, look at what happens in Team Sky.
Sky, which is Great Britain's professional cycling team. Sometime in the mid-2000s, around 2010, they hired a man named Dave Brailsford. And at the time, Team Sky had a very middle-of-the-road record when it came to performance on the world stage. They had won about 1 gold medal in the last 100 years, from 1908 to 2008. They had never won a Tour de France, the premier event in cycling. And when they hired Dave Brailsford, they said, we would like to change this. We'd like to improve our performance. We'd like to reach a higher level of performance. What's your plan to help us do that? And when they hired Brailsford, he said, I have this strategy called the aggregation of marginal gains. And the way that he described it was the 1% improvement in nearly everything that you do. And so they started by looking at a lot of things you would expect a cycling team to look at. They improved their bike tires and made them slightly lighter. They put a more ergonomic seat on the bike. They had their riders wear biofeedback sensors so they could see how each person responded to the training and practice that they did each day. They had their outdoor riders wear indoor racing suits because they were lighter and more aerodynamic. But then they did a variety of things that you wouldn't expect a cycling team to do. They split tested different types of massage gels to see which one led to the best form of recovery. They taught their riders how to wash their hands to reduce the risk of infection and keep them healthy. They even figured out what kind of pillow led to the best night's sleep for each rider, and then brought that on the road with them to hotels. So Brailsford said, if we can actually execute on this strategy, if we can aggregate all these small changes, these little 1% improvements, then I think we can win the Tour de France in about 5 years. He ended up being wrong. They won the Tour de France in 3 years, and then they repeated again the 4th year with a different rider. And then just last year, they won for the 3rd time in 4 years. And Brailsford's strategy really came to fruition at the Olympics in London in 2012, when they won 70% of the gold medals available. And so what I'd like to start us off with is the idea that small improvements actually can add up to a very significant change in a relatively short period of time. And this is just basic math, right? If you get 1% better each day over 365 days, you end up 37 times better at the end of the year. If you get 1% worse, you take yourself almost all the way down to 0. Now, you might say, okay, well, 1% improvements are nice, but clearly no one is going to get 1% better every single day. So is that ever enough to accumulate to anything, considering that we're not going to be perfect all the time? And I would argue, yes. In fact, you can get 10 times better if you get 1% better 5 days a week, 46 weeks a year, so it's about 230 days in total. That gives you 6 weeks off for holidays, illness, laziness, and just generally not getting things done. But you're still 10 times better at the end of the year. And what I would like to propose is that the way to do this is not by setting better goals for ourselves or at our organizations, but by building better systems and obtaining better habits. In fact, you could say that the goal never changed. They wanted to win a Tour de France each year. They wanted to win Olympic gold medals. It wasn't the goal that made the difference. Instead, it was their system, the way that they applied those improvements in a 1% basis day after day.
So here's to wrap up here before we take our photo. On that last page, you guys got to see our data. You guys got to hear stories. where we're at as a culture. And in about a week and a half, we're gonna have kids walk through our doors. What's gonna be your 1% between now and then? Reflect on that for that last page. And then let's go take our photo. Continue these conversations. Again, this is just supposed to be the launching ramp. It's not supposed to be the wall where we stop.